himself or one of the other wives. Kody's feeling a lot of rejection, and so I think he's...
Something's seriously off in the Brown family, because what's happening with Dayton Brown isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a full-blown mystery that has fans spiraling for answers. For nearly a week now, the internet has been buzzing with wild speculation after Peyton Brown that Peyton jumped on TikTok Live and casually dropped a bomb about his brother Dayton. According to Peyton, Dayton had supposedly been kicked off Sister Wives for doing something bad. The claim instantly exploded across Reddit threads, fan groups, and reaction videos. But when fans pressed him for more, Peyton backtracked fast, denying he ever said it and calling his own words a lie. That bizarre reversal only made things worse, because now the question burning through the fandom is, what's the truth about Dayton, and where is he really? The chaos began when Peyton, who's known for his unpredictable TikTok lives, admitted he's been doing them for money. He said it plainly, he needs cash, so he's turning to live streams. No one really cared about that part. What did shock everyone was when a viewer asked about Dayton's disappearance from the show. And Peyton claimed Dayton had been kicked off for bad behavior. The clip wasn't saved, but people who watched live swear they heard it. Then, a few days later, he denied it all, insisting he never said anything about his brother. The sudden denial only fueled speculation that maybe, just maybe, someone told him to keep quiet. For longtime followers of Sister Wives, Dayton's absence has always raised eyebrows. Once visible in the background of family scenes, he's now completely vanished from the latest episodes. Viewers started noticing last season that he wasn't appearing at family events, wasn't seen moving boxes, wasn't in group shots, nothing. When fans on Reddit began digging deeper, they realized that every trace of Dayton's online presence had also gone cold. His old LinkedIn profile? Gone. His social media? Silent. His name doesn't pop up anywhere new, except when tied to one address, the very same $2 million home Kody and Robyn bought in Arizona. That's when theories started spiraling. If Dayton's address is still listed as Kody and Robyn's house, is he still living there? Or has he been forced into hiding? Because, let's be real, 25, almost 26, Dayton isn't a kid anymore. He's old enough to live on his own, and he's proven capable. He went to Northern Arizona University, earned 3 degrees, graduated top of his class, and even received awards. He's clearly intelligent and functional. But then again, Dayton has autism, which has always been part of his story. Fans began wondering, does his mom, Robyn, use his diagnosis as an excuse to keep him dependent? Because the truth is, many adults with autism live independently, thrive in their careers, and build full lives. So why hasn't Dayton? According to longtime insiders, the issue goes way beyond his condition. It's about control. Dayton never liked filming. He never liked being forced into the spotlight, especially after his ATV accident, which left him with injuries he was deeply self-conscious about. But Robyn and Kody pushed him to appear on camera anyway, even during his recovery. Those scenes where he was visibly uncomfortable revealed more than producers probably realized. Dayton was never interested in being a reality TV character. He wanted privacy. And that refusal to play along with the family's narrative became a problem. Because, as every Sister Wives watcher knows, Kody and Robyn thrive on maintaining their version of the truth. If you won't perform it, you're out. The backstory runs deep. Years ago, when the Browns were still in Las Vegas, Dayton started pushing back against Kody's strict rules, especially the bizarre household guidelines Kody imposed during the COVID era. Dayton wanted a normal college experience. He wanted friends, independence, a life outside his parents' constant control. But Kody didn't approve, and Robyn, unlike Janelle or Christine, didn't fight for her child's autonomy. Instead, she sided with Kody. When Dayton refused to comply, Kody kicked him out, literally. They set him up in an RV on the driveway of their house. A humiliating solution that symbolized everything wrong with that family's power dynamics. Visitors who toured the property later told Real estate agents they'd been informed that the RV was where the oldest son lived. Imagine that, your child, your grown son, banished to a trailer outside your $1 million home because he wanted a life of his own. Fast forward, and the Browns moved to a massive Arizona home, complete with an RV garage. Coincidence?
About 8 weeks ago,
Hardly.
Mary told me she was going
Rumors
to go
say
to...
Dayton's still living there, either in that garage or in the guest house behind the property. Either way, he's not free. Every record points to him being tied to the same address as Kody and Robyn. Fans speculate that Robyn, deeply controlling and overprotective, refuses to let him leave. Convinced he can't function without her, those who've known her behavior pattern describe her as smothering. Someone who infantilizes her adult children under the guise of protection. Dayton, meanwhile, has reportedly grown increasingly distant, not just from his parents, but from all his siblings. Kody Brown, who occasionally shares family insight on her Patreon, confirmed that Dayton doesn't speak to any of them. None. Not even casual contact. When she tried to help him reconnect, he shut her down completely, she said, making it clear he didn't want reconciliation. That revelation stunned fans, but also made sense. Between being kicked out, humiliated on TV, and micromanaged by Robyn, why would Dayton want anything to do with them? The situation becomes even darker when you look at his brief reconnection with his biological father years ago. After graduating high school, Dayton went on a road trip with his dad, a reunion. That should have been positive. But according to multiple sources, Robyn and Kody were furious. They viewed the trip as a betrayal. After that, Dayton's relationship with them deteriorated. He became rebellious, as they put it. Translation, he started thinking for himself. Since then, no one from his father's Montana community has seen him return. Those who lived in the Pinesdale area, where his dad's religious group resides, say Dayton hasn't been spotted there in years. What's left is a young man whose life seems frozen between two worlds. His independence on one side, his mother's grip on the other. And Peyton, despite being his brother, knows almost nothing about him. Even Peyton admits that he and Dayton don't speak. So when Peyton goes live on TikTok and claims Dayton was kicked off the show for something bad, it sounds more like gossip than fact. Still, when he backpedaled and retracted the statement, fans noticed the fear. Why would he walk it back unless someone pressured him to? Peyton has said before that Kody tried to force him to sign an NDA, especially after he exposed Mary Brown's alleged abuse in a live with blogger John Yates. Since then, Peyton's been banned from talking publicly. But he still does attend every time he does. Chaos follows. What's undeniable is that something about Dayton's disappearance doesn't add up. Whether he left voluntarily, refused to film, or was quietly written out to protect the family's image. One fact remains: TLC can't show him unless he signs a release. The same rule applied to the Duggars when estranged family members refused to be filmed. So maybe Dayton didn't get kicked off in a dramatic sense? Maybe he simply said no. But when you live under Kody and Robyn's control, no is the ultimate act of rebellion. In a family built on image management, Dayton's silence speaks volumes. His absence is louder than anything Peyton could ever say on TikTok. He's the ghost of sister wives, the missing son everyone whispers about, but no one truly knows. And while Robyn may still tell herself she's protecting him, the reality is that her protection looks a lot like captivity. For all his degrees, for all his intelligence, Dayton remains trapped in the one place he probably least wants to under his mother's roof, bound to the family that turned his life into a storyline he never wanted to live. The deeper you dig into Dayton Brown's disappearance, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just about a son who didn't want to be filmed. This is about control, secrecy, and a family dynamic that's rotting from the inside out. When fans first noticed Dayton's complete absence from recent Sister Wives episodes, it didn't seem unusual. After all, family members rotate in and out of the spotlight all the time. But then the pattern turned impossible to ignore. In every group shot, every family move, every public event, Dayton was missing. Even in moments where he should have been visible, he wasn't. And that silence from both TLC and the Browns spoke volumes. The network, usually eager to capitalize on every tiny bit of family tension, had nothing to say. Kody and Robyn avoided even mentioning his name. That level of omission doesn't happen. Accidentally, it's deliberate. When you rewind the timeline, the clues start forming a picture that's hard to deny. During the early Flagstaff years, while most of the kids were navigating life under Kody's strict COVID rules, Dayton was quietly drifting further away. He had already been exiled to an RV when he refused to comply with his parents' pandemic lockdowns. Rules that even Janelle's and Christine's kids refused to follow. But while Janelle and Christine fought Kody to protect their children's independence, Robyn folded completely. Instead of advocating for Dayton's freedom, she doubled down on Kody's control, treating her son like a permanent dependent. That control has always been Robyn's defining trait. She doesn't just protect, she possesses. From the beginning, her parenting style has been about containment, not empowerment. When Dayton was accepted to Northern Arizona University, fans expected it would finally be his chance to grow. Two, separate from the suffocating bubble his parents built. But Robyn couldn't let go. According to those close to the family, she even considered following him to school, literally. Her fear of him being out in the world alone became an obsession. The move to Flagstaff, conveniently located near No, wasn't about starting a new chapter for the family. It was about keeping Dayton within reach. Even Christine, in her book, admitted the move was triggered by Robyn's insistence that she needed to be near her son. It wasn't Destiny 8, was surveillance disguised as motherhood. This overprotection didn't come from nowhere. Robyn's entire relationship with Kody has revolved around emotional control. She feeds his ego by validating his head of the household fantasies while quietly managing everyone behind the scenes. Her children, especially Dayton, have become extensions of her image. To let them go would mean losing control. To Robyn, means exposing the illusion. That's why Dayton's independence has always been framed as rebellion. The family narrative doesn't allow for personal freedom. It only allows for loyalty or betrayal. When Dayton tried to assert boundaries first by refusing filming, then by visiting his biological father, it broke their script. His summer reunion with his dad, which should have been a healthy reconnection, was treated as a threat. Robyn and Kody's reaction was pure panic. They saw his willingness to rebuild that relationship as a form of defiance. Something dangerous that might weaken their authority. From that moment on, Dayton was treated as a liability. Fans close to the family claim that's when the wall of silence started. His storylines dried up. His appearances were reduced to background shots. Eventually, even those disappeared. What's unsettling is how this pattern mirrors other family members' experiences. Christine's daughter, Gwendolyn, has been vocal about how controlled everything felt, how every word, every scene had to fit Kody and Robyn's version of the truth. Once you stepped outside that version, you were erased. And Dayton, who never played the PR game, became the easiest person to erase. Adding to the tension, Dayton's supposed behavioral issues have always been exaggerated through Robyn's lens. She once described his autism publicly, but in a way that framed him as fragile, incapable, dependent on her constant oversight. That narrative justified her control. But people who knew Dayton outside the show described someone intelligent, socially capable, and driven. He graduated with honors, completed multiple degrees, and excelled in complex coursework, hardly signs of someone unable to function independently. So why the constant sheltering? Because control is power, and Robyn's power comes from keeping her children tethered. There's also the emotional leverage Robyn uses through guilt. Her children have grown up hearing that family unity is sacred, and that disobedience equals betrayal. For someone like Dayton, who's naturally empathetic and loyal, that guilt becomes a cage. Walking away wouldn't just mean leaving his mother. It would mean being labeled the ungrateful son who abandoned the family. Kody, who thrives on control just as much, would reinforce that guilt. The result? A psychological web where independence feels like sin and obedience feels like safety. Fans have speculated that Dayton's missing storyline is part of a bigger strategy to protect the family image. TLC has a long history of quietly erasing controversies when they threaten the brand. Think of how the Duggars handled estranged members. They simply stopped showing them. No explanations, no statements, just silence. The same formula seems to apply here. Dayton's absence avoids difficult questions. Avoid showing a son rejecting his parents' authority. Avoid showing Robyn's cracks in her perfect mother facade. But the internet doesn't forget. The more they hide him, the louder the questions become. Then came Peyton's live stream The Spark that reignited everything. When he claimed Dayton had been kicked off the show for doing something bad, people's imaginations went wild. Was there a scandal? A secret? Something darker? But Peyton's follow-up denial didn't calm anyone. It made things worse. Because Peyton's pattern is familiar. Speak impulsively, get silenced, retract. And every time it happens, the same shadow looms Kody's rumored NDAs. Peyton himself has said Kody tried to block him from doing interviews or podcasts after he exposed Meri Brown's abusive behavior. If Kody would go that far to silence one son, what would stop him from gagging another? Behind all the speculation lies a tragic truth. Dayton's story represents the emotional fallout of living under Kody and Robyn's reign of manipulation. Their version of family isn't built on love, it's built on loyalty tests, emotional punishment, and image management. The kids are pawns, each expected to serve the narrative. Those who conform get shown on TV. Those who resist vanish. And Dayton, being both resistant and private, was the first to disappear completely. The strange part is that Dayton's erasure isn't total. Sharp-eyed fans have spotted glimpses, reflections, background movement, indirect mentions. He's there but unseen, physically present yet digitally erased. It's the same tactic TLC used in past reality controversies. Blur the faces, crop the shots, and rewrite the story. That invisible presence only adds to the eerie feeling that Dayton's life is being carefully curated. His reality edited to fit someone else's script. Even within the family, that control has consequences. Mykelti, one of the few siblings who still maintains some form of contact with Robyn, admitted that Dayton does not want to speak to anyone. Her phrasing wasn't angry, it was resigned. She said she tried to mediate, to rebuild some communication, but Dayton refused completely. It's not hard to see why. Every attempt to reconnect drags him back into the same cycle of control he's trying to escape. And to make matters worse, the siblings themselves are divided. Some, like Peyton, resent Robyn openly. Others, like Aurora and Brina, remain fiercely loyal to her. Dayton, caught between those two worlds, chose silence. But silence doesn't mean peace. It's isolation. For someone who once showed so much potential, a student with degrees, honors, and a promising future, the fact that he's still living under his parents' roof is telling. It suggests that Robyn's grip hasn't loosened one bit. Fans have noted that his address remains tied to their home, and that every public record he eyes, taxes, property points back to that Arizona residence. There's no sign of independent ownership, no separate lease, no professional footprint. It's as if Dayton, the adult, has been erased, leaving only Dayton, the dependent. What makes this entire situation heartbreaking is that it could have been avoided. If Kody and Robyn valued emotional independence over image, Dayton could have thrived on his own. Instead, they turned his diagnosis into a justification for captivity. And that's why so many fans describe Robyn's parenting as smothering. To outsiders, she presents as nurturing, caring, protective. But the reality, based on years of patterns, is that her protection is a cover for domination. Kody enables it because it fits his patriarchal control fantasy. Together, they've built a home where freedom is forbidden, individuality is punished, and silence is survival. So when people ask, was Dayton kicked off the show? The answer is both yes and no. He wasn't fired by TLC for misconduct. He was erased by design. His resistance made him unmanageable. His independence made him unpredictable. And in a world built on illusion, unpredictability is the ultimate threat. Kody and Robyn don't need him gone physically. They just need him invisible. In the end, Dayton's disappearance from Sister Wives isn't about what he did. It's about what he refused to do, submit, perform, and pretend. His silence is the one thing they can't control, and that's what terrifies them most. Control, and that's what terrifies them most.